Hey, I'm Rob Patz.
I'm Jason Webb. This is Thrive with Rob and Jason. We talk about life. We talk about business. We talk about faith. We all talk about Thrive. It's summertime, Rob.
And the living is easy. I'm gonna run
I was waiting for it.
As long as it's summer, I'm probably gonna run that a little bit. I did that on our show, by the way. If you're not watching, my wife and I do a show every Tuesday night. It was on last night. We were in Columbus, Ohio, okay, and not Ohio, Indiana. See, and that's the joke in the thing. I kept calling it Columbus, Ohio, Columbus, Indiana. If you're from Columbus, Indiana, love your little town. It was amazing. We had a great weekend there. Enjoyed our time in Columbus, Indiana. About 75 miles, by the way, north of Louisville, which I love Louisville. But that got me thinking about something. You know what? It's summer and barbecue season is here.
Oh man, I love outdoor cooking. That is my jam. I know we've talked, I've talked with Kristen, your wife, on this and food and, building out a cooking show for the network. Like we're fat kids, right, Rob?
Yes.
I love food. Let's talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Totally. It is. Now, see, here's what the thing is. In certain parts of the country, they call it different things. Like it's called a cookout in certain places. We call it barbecuing, even if it's not barbecue sauce involved. A lot of times. Our guest today, we'll ask her, that'll be our first question. We're going to ask her what they call it in Wisconsin. We'll do that in
Colorado. We call it grilling. We're out here grilling.
Yeah, see, which is very true. Yes. When I lived in Seattle, we called it grilling too. So I think that's a more Western half of
Western thing. Yeah. It's where the smart people live. Okay, I'm not that smart, but it's okay.
That's why you live in Colorado, because we were never considered Colorado the West when we lived out in Seattle. So
right, yeah, exactly.
That was mountain fantastic. States. You just opened yourself up for that one, buddy. But no, so here's the thing, and I got to ask you this because this is super important, and it's something we literally have never talked about. Your barbecue sauce. Do you like it like a sweet sauce? Do you like a vinegar sauce? And just
gotta go with the sweet sauce. It can't be overly sweet though. I do like a little bit of like savoriness from the Texas barbecue sauce.
Okay. See, I have to tell you, I'm getting old. I'm older than Jason, so I am getting old. And I have to tell you this. I've gotten this, and I shouldn't give them a plug because they're not paying for anything. It's a barbecue sauce called Montgomery's.
Oh, we gotta call them for a sponsor.
Yeah, we got to call it totally. Got it at Costco. We should call them for a sponsor too.
Yeah.
But got it at Costco. It's called Montgomery's. It's very famous here in Ohio.
Interesting.
And I guess they sell it all over the country.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to talk about that.
Yeah, it's more vinegar based, and I've never been a vinegar based barbecue guy. And all of a sudden, I'm like,
it's good.
I really like this. I really do. It's got a little bit. And I'm not going to say Worcestershire sauce because I hammer it every time I say
Worcestershire.
Anyway, it's got a bit of a tang like that, and it's just really good. And so that's my thing, my jam. And it's scary. I think as you get older, you change, and so that's my new thing. And I hate saying my new jam, but it really is. It's my new thing I'm doing now. And I don't know. Of course, I mixed it with ranch dressing, which of course
you are a ranch guy.
Oh, from Minnesota. Oh yeah, you betcha. Oh yeah. Hey, from a neighboring state, from my home state of Minnesota, is our guest today. She is amazing, wonderful person. Love her to death already. I've only known her a couple weeks, and just
we gotta know what she likes for is it called cooking, barbecuing, grilling, and what kind of sauce she likes, right?
Yes, and does she eat ranch dressing? I doubt she does because she looks really healthy. So let's bring her on. You introduce her.
Perfect. Today's guest, Linda Hanson. She is the founder, president, author, strategist, podcast host. There's so many things that she does. I am so excited to talk with her today. Linda, it's great to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's grilling or cookout or, it's grilling and I like sweet.
See, sweet. That's why we get along, Linda. See, that's why we get along.
And ranch dressing? Do you like ranch dressing?
Yeah, if it's not too fatty.
See, she's healthy.
What I want to know is, I'm from Minnesota and Wisconsin. So I was born in Minnesota, spent most of my life in the Midwest. So what I want to know is it pop or soda to you? Ooh. Is it a bubbler or is it a fountain?
Fountain.
It's a
Of course,
fountain.
I'm from
It's a
Minnesota,
fountain.
so it's a fountain and it's
bubbler.
soda.
Fountain.
If you're in La Crosse, Wisconsin, it's a bubbler.
Yep.
Okay.
And is it pop or soda? I've called
Yeah.
it both, but here in Colorado, we do call it pop.
Oh, you
It's
do?
pop.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. And but speaking of La Crosse, Wisconsin, if you go to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and you drink out of one of their green bubblers that are on corners around La Crosse, Wisconsin, you can thank my grandfather because
Wow.
and to bat for those. They were going to get rid of them in the
Mhm.
city of La Crosse back in the day when he was involved with as a journalist and he was involved in politics and things, and he went to bat and saved the bubblers. And so yeah, so I always want to ask,
Well,
is
we
it
are thankful.
a bubbler?
Yeah, we are very thankful. And you know, we talk about grilling. You being from Wisconsin, bratwurst. It's the
Bratwurst.
place for brats, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I get them shipped in. There's a place out in Wisconsin that I actually get them shipped in from. It's been there
Really?
for 100+ years.
Where?
You know them. I'm gonna have to get the name of it. We'll have to call them for a sponsor too.
He gets you all built up and then he doesn't remember the name. What's
Yeah.
up with that?
And you have to think cheese curds. I did
Oh,
an
Yes.
Yeah, I did an interview the other day for my podcast, and the guy had done some work in Wisconsin, some political work in Wisconsin, and he
Mhm.
said, "Just talking to you makes me want to have cheese curds and a beer."
Well, speaking of cheese curds, we did an event about a month ago at the Ignite Christian Business Conference, and I know Rob will bring this up, but it's in right outside of Omaha, Nebraska, and they invited us to try something new with cheese curds. It might be something that just disgusts you, but we actually had cheese curds with caramel.
That sounds disgusting.
I will tell you this.
You think
because
it sounds like it.
I'm a purist because I'm from Minnesota. You know, cheese curds are state fair food.
Right.
And
Yes.
I'm like,
Right.
and I ate it because they made me, because there was peer pressure there.
Yeah.
I peer pressure.
Jay-
I twisted
Rob
an
is
arm.
very mature. Yes.
Yes, Jason was. Oh, yeah, really, Linda? Oh, come on. But it was Jason. Jason was shaming me not to, because I was like, I'm not trying.
I did.
that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is going to be gross because I'm a purist.
Mhm.
Cheese curd is a cheese curd. You don't make it, but it surprisingly, it tasted actually pretty good. Of course, I was really hungry too at the
Well,
time.
it tasted like a funnel cake. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't even like my cheese curds fried. I don't like a lot of things fried, so I'm not a great state fair customer for state fairs. But I like them when they're fresh and squeaky.
Oh yes.
The best
Mhm,
place to
mhm.
get, in my opinion, the best place to get squeaky cheese curds is in Wyowega, Wisconsin. Yeah,
Ooh, I'm
Not sponsored. Also,
that,
I'm gonna have to look. We got to call these people.
yeah.
everybody's got to be a sponsor by the time this is over. We'll look like those NASCAR racers. We'll have shirts full of
Oh yeah,
sponsors.
we got to have labels everywhere. And I did remember the brats in Wisconsin. It's U-singers.
U-singers, yeah, that's what
Oh, they're so good. Yes,
Oh, that's
See?
legit.
yes. So, anyways,
Okay.
let's get into
Okay.
let's get into Prosperity 101 with everything that you built out within Prosperity 101. And really, what is Prosperity 101?
Okay, Prosperity 101 is actually my company that I started. That really, my goal is to help employers educate employees about the public policy issues that affect their jobs. I want to unleash the power of employers and employees to reclaim and preserve America, because there are so many people who go to voting booths all the time and vote themselves right out of their jobs because they are absolutely clueless about how our system of government works, what our founding freedoms are, that what their role as a citizen is. And we have people coming through what I call the conveyor belt of life. They go through preschool, grade school, high school, college, where they learn to protest and complain and become a victim, and then they go into the voting booth and they vote like that, and then they go into the workplace and they're protesting and complaining and they're a victim. And I say, let's flip that script. 5% of employees are employed in privately held businesses in the US.
Yes.
And if employers would step up and say, hey, if the left can talk about stuff in the workplace, like, why are we not? So I tell people, like, one of the posters on my website, in fact, is just the Bill of Rights. And it says, are you voting for a person who will protect your rights? It's just really, educating people about their basic rights and how to become informed, involved, and impactful to protect those. And it's also helping people understand that prosperity is not necessarily money, but human flourishing and freedom, and why we have that in the United States. Like, why do people come here to flourish and have freedom? And it's because of our founding documents, and we need to protect that. So we need to reclaim and preserve America.
Oh, I love that, and that's one thing that got me really excited about talking with you today. Really diving into this because it is a big election year, getting people educated on this stuff. So tell me a little bit about your background within politics. I know you did work with Herman Cain and did a few different things, but really what you got, what got you into this Prosperity 101, where that was birthed.
Okay, well, first and foremost, for most of my adult years, I was homeschool mom to 6 kids. So I was homeschooling way back before it was cool, or before it was legal in all 50 states. So that really woke me up a lot. And I knew God called me to fight for freedom policies when my oldest son was born. So I knew that I had a calling on my life. So in addition to homeschooling the kids, I just studied policy. I tried to be a good volunteer, activist, and, as much as I could with the kids. But then as they got older, I became a GOP county chair, and I was an assistant district chair. And I kind of came up through that volunteer ranks in politics. And then I was very, very involved in the flip of 2010 in Wisconsin. You're in Colorado, and people the blueprint in Colorado that happened in 2008. Well, we had a red print in 2010. We just didn't have time to write a book about it because I went on to work with Herman Cain. But we did a lot of strategies across the state. Like, I helped found our renowned think tank, MacIver Institute for Public Policy, and we did really grew a grassroots movement here. Well, as I was going around the state to really educate business leaders, and actually to raise money for our crazy strategies that people said couldn't be done, but a lot of business leaders were telling me they would leave the state if a business friendly governor wasn't elected. To which I knew immediately there's millions of people who go to voting booths and vote themselves out of their jobs. My family had restaurants when I was growing up. My peers had no idea what we did to make sure their paychecks were paid. Right. And people just don't understand. And in this me first entitlement society, there's really a cluelessness, and
it is.
running a business is not about, climate change and ESG and DEI and all that. Running a business is about your bottom line. And you need freedom to have that. You need regulatory freedom. You need taxation freedom. You need freedom to run a healthy business. And a lot of people don't understand that. So anyway, back in that time, I wrote a book and developed a program that really got used widely in Wisconsin and around the country in the following years to really educate people in the workplace about how policies affect their jobs. And it was very powerful, very impactful. During that time, I asked Herman Cain to be one of my advisors, and we were speaking a lot at events together, and you could really see that America wanted a Herman Cain. So I was very honored to be one of 2 people who convinced Herman Cain to run for president, and I became his deputy chief of staff for his campaign, and had the honor and just the true honor of working with him on many things for over 12 years before his death.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then the years in between too, after he dropped out of the race, I did a lot of campaign work, issue advocacy, coalition development, a lot of regulatory reform, which put me into many different industries around the country and helped me to understand so much about regulation. So when Trump came in, and, for every regulation, he got rid of 3. He just opened up the pathway for businesses to apply and become more successful. Well, people don't realize that because they're not taught that. And so I say to employers, let's flip that script. And I think employers are the last resort, like they're the last stop. I mean, if employers don't start educating these people in the workplace, that are 20, 30, 40 years old, if they do not start educating people in the workplace about what really makes America work and why we actually can even have freedom and prosperity, who's going to? I mean, the media is going to teach them that socialism and communism are the best things. So employers, if you're listening, please step up to the plate. And I have nonpartisan resources that can help you. I have an online course, I have a book, I have posters, I have a podcast each week. So it's great. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Point to the QR code there.
Thank you for putting the website, and I'd love to do a workshop with you.
Yes.
You know, we could do a live workshop or a Zoom workshop, whatever. But my passion is to really flip the script in the workplace, so employers are no longer afraid to talk about, freedom, like our Constitution. Like, post the Constitution in your break room. I mean, it's not hard to just do the simplest things, and it starts to open people's eyes. So
I love it.
Passion. Yeah, that's my passion.
Well, and a lot that we talk about here on Thrive is, about, faith in business and different things within that. With the Ignite Christian Business Conference, a few things that we've done, making that marketplace the mission.
Yes.
It can be a simple concept, and that's one thing that's really resonated with me and your podcast, and just doing some research and talking to you and learning about you. Is your ability to distill, complex economic concepts into relatable and actionable things for employees and businesses, and it's just, you're really great at translating that stuff.
Thank you. It's all those years of homeschooling. I lived life with a red pen behind my ears. So,
yes.
Yeah. And that was one of the things when God really called me to it. There was a point where I was speaking to 500 top managers at Menards, or I think, don't count me on the exact number, but I was speaking to a group of managers from all over the country at Menards. For those of you in the Midwest, or if you're not in the Midwest, there's like Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards. But if you're in the Midwest, Menards.
You got to save big money.
Yeah, save big money. Anyway, I don't have a blue apron, but
another sponsor.
Yeah, I know. I love that. Anyway, the Menard family is great, and I was speaking to the top managers there, and I remember thinking, they get it, but the people who stock the shelves probably don't. And
exactly.
that's when I feel God called me to write that book. It was just, I just heard, I want you to write a book, and this is what it needs to say. I want, everything I do focuses on policies or foundations of prosperity. So the foundations of prosperity, like really introducing them to our founding documents and why we can even have this in America. So we're talking 5th grade level. This isn't like we're not reading Atlas Shrugged here, or anything like that. It's a very 5th grade level, so any employee could handle it, basically. But foundations of prosperity, the policies of prosperity, basic economic facts that around taxation and regulation, and how government treats business, and how business needs to make a profit in order for the employees to actually get a paycheck. Like we all kind of go, well, duh, but really a lot of people don't think about that. They don't realize.
No, they don't.
They think the business owner is the fat cat in the fancy car or something, and they don't realize that business owner probably hasn't even taken a paycheck for 3 years just so they could sign yours.
Yeah, exactly. They don't understand that. And I grew up in a very blue collar community, very hardworking, and a lot of it is uneducated individuals in terms of these policy issues and business and building these businesses. And so one thing that I noticed that you're a big proponent of is that two-way communication, not just of the business owner, the employee, kind of the whole thing, and making that, the big knowledge base, because like you said, a lot of it is always thought of the business owner as the fat cat driving the big car. And, it's two different cultures, and it really doesn't have to be.
It really doesn't have to be. It needs to be like one. And so we go through, the foundations of prosperity, the policies of prosperity, but then how to protect their prosperity by becoming informed, involved, and impactful. And that's where it's the basic civics course. It's learning how to be a citizen. Like, how do you register to vote? Where, how do you contact an elected official? How do you write a letter to an elected official? Like, all just basic things. So, Mark Whitaker, who is with Coca-Cola Consolidated, many people in the Christian business marketplace ministry type work know of him. And he said, every American needs to go through Prosperity 101. So I'm like, yes, okay, yes, let's go. But honestly, you bring up a really good point. Sometimes employers are afraid to bring my online course or afraid to bring me into the workplace because someone somewhere will go, this is political.
It's a light bulb that's going to go, yeah.
Yes, but all of life is political. All of life is political. Everything is political. And by not doing something, you have a political action too. Non-action is an action. So, we have to be able to speak up. And employers, I'm saying, if you care about your freedom, then speak up and contact me. Let's get this course to your employees. Let's get a workshop going. And I love what you said, Jason, about the communication, because once the employees understand that the employer is bringing this information because they care about them, they want them to know how to thrive. I love the title of your show, How to Thrive in the Future, right? Then they realize like, oh, maybe I ought to get in this boat and row with them. It creates loyalty, engagement, retention. You have a team spirit going on, and that's what it's about. It's really grassroots. There's a lot of organizations that are business to government. You see associations and things, and they're business to government, right? But I say no. Grassroots is getting the employer and the employees talking, and then it's the employer and the employees to government. We're only going to take this country back if citizens wake up and smell the coffee. So on your coffee breaks, do a Prosperity 101 course.
There you go. Hey, Linda, I want to ask you a question because you talked about being a homeschool mom and stuff. And there are probably some moms and dads that are homeschooling out there right now. And give them some advice. Maybe they want to get their kids involved in political things. What would you recommend would be their first step to doing that?
Oh, that is fantastic. One, be an example. Be an example, like let them know that you are an engaged citizen. Take them with you to go vote. Take them, with you if you help volunteer on a campaign. Take them with you if you go to a town hall meeting. Help the kids understand what is going on. And they're not too young. They might be if they're babies, but but hey, I did lit drops with my kids in strollers, and the competition was how many people, who could do the most sides of the street with lit. So it just varies. So let them see you be an engaged citizen. Let them see you praying for your leaders. Like scripture says, we need to pray for those in leadership, and we need to pray for our nation. So let them see you praying. But then in terms of educational information, there is so much. Like if there's homeschool families that would be interested in maybe using my course, contact me. We can get you special access and a special price and things. It's a 12 lesson video course. Right now it says, contact us for pricing, like for businesses. But honestly, if you are a homeschool family, contact me. We'll get you in, and we'll get this 12 lesson online course for something very affordable. So that would be great. I would love to do that. There's great resources. I don't know if some of you know about the Tuttle Twins. Are you familiar with the Tuttle Twins books? Oh my gosh, this is from Libertas Institute. The Tuttle Twins books, I think, are really fun. They're like fiction, but they have one that's The Road to Serfdom, and it's SURF, and it's all about like how government was taking over property rights and they couldn't get to their surfing place. They have a lot of things, and it's these two kids learn about all these things. So Tuttle Twins is good. There's wonderful resources all over. So people want resource. I could give a whole list of resources, and then we need more sponsors. But but honestly, there's a lot. And then if you have like high school or college age kids, please get them involved with Turning Point USA or Turning Point Action. Right now, Turning Point Action has a Chase the Vote program in Arizona, Wisconsin. They'll be launching in Michigan, and I believe in Georgia too. And chasing the vote is very different than harvesting the vote. Like we don't but we don't harvest, right?
Yes.
But chasing the vote is making sure, because you talked about people in the marketplace. 41% of Christians didn't vote in the last.
Wow.
Can you imagine what America would be like if American Christians actually voted their values?
Yeah.
Like if they actually went to the voting booth and voted their values, like
That's a huge
it would
number.
be, yes, yes.
That's an
And right.
eye-opening number.
It is. And if we think that there's, say 60 million employees represented by those privately held businesses that we talked about, if we get a percentage of those employees to understand, basic principles about voting and what these policies mean to their business, it's like you start to explain to people that, government has nothing until we give it to them first. Well, to some people they go, oh, I never thought about that. It's like, well, where does
The
government
truth.
get money? They just don't know. it seems obvious to us, but there's a lot of people who just have never.
And like you said, it's the uneducated,
It is, and all the only line they see in media is government needs to pay for this, and anybody who wants to cut back on government funding is, a racist, bigot, and a homophobe. We're horrible people if we want to cut back on government funding. But in our home budgets, we have to cut back. We have to cut back and balance a budget, and the bank doesn't like it if we overdraft, and if we do, well, we pay the price, right? And we are paying the price in America for overdrafting, and
yes.
every 100 days we're going, another trillion in debt. It's insane. So we have to educate these people. So, just simple things like that start to wake people up. And I think, if you can, Rob, you asked about, educating young people. If you've got high school students, get them involved in a Turning Point USA high school chapter, or at least get them involved online, maybe go to a conference. They're just doing great things for young people. And it's not Republican or Democrat, everything is so divided. And the one thing I like about that movement and really about marketplace ministry, like working with Christian businesses, is it's not Republican or Democrat. It is like, this is truth and this is non-truth,
Yeah.
This makes sense and this is common sense and this is not common sense, right? And I've worked in Republican politics a lot, but as you can tell by who I, helped run as president, I was non-establishment back then.
Yes.
Herman Cain was Trump before Trump, and probably could have been in the White House, except when he was polling ahead of Obama, they had to take him out, and we didn't have Twitter or Trump's money.
Yep.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But the breaking up that uniparty and breaking that up, like, it's really, we are in a battle. We're in a spiritual war is what we're in.
Oh, completely.
As Christians, that's our most important line of defense is prayer. So Rob, you talked about, what can parents do? Obviously, pray with your children, teach your children truth in scripture, teach them to pray for their country, teach them to pray, to be used as a citizen, and it's not just America, but it's world. Like, we're praying for revival all over the world, and we're seeing it. There were just 70,000 people in Trafalgar Square in London recently. It's just incredible what's happening around the world. People around the world know that a strong America makes a better place for them. People around the world are watching. I was just literally this morning talking to a woman in the Philippines, and her son is 11 years old. It's Philippine Independence Day today, I guess. And they actually had some violence and somebody got shot, and her son was 11 years old, I think. And he is afraid for their relatives who live in the US because he's afraid of the violence.
That's coming.
He sees what's happening in America. He's 11 years old, and he doesn't.
Wow.
He doesn't. President Biden, he's afraid for the leadership, and I think, this is a kid from the Philippines who's paying attention to American politics, while our kids are, on
just
TikTok,
being oblivious, and being. The one big thing that I pull from everything that you do is just encouraging the civic engagement. Educate, learn more about things. I know as we finish up here, I just definitely check out Prosperity 101 right here with the QR code. Learn more about what Linda's doing. She's an incredible woman. As you hear this, you hear the story from her today. Learn about what you're going to be voting on and vote.
Yes.
Hey, thank you, Linda, for being with us today. Appreciate you so much.
You too, Rob. Thank you, and thank you, Jason. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Linda. God bless. And man, that was fantastic, Rob.
It's powerful. I told you she's amazing.
She's-
We love
yes.
Linda.
Yes.
And
Check out
so-
Prosperity 101 right there with the QR code. Get educated, learn about what you can do, especially as this is a huge election year. It's going to change our future.
It is. It's going to be an amazing year. Hey, thank you so much for being with